2021 FIM Ice Speedway World Championship is the 7th staged in Togliatti's Anatoly Stepanov Stadium. As a result of the global pandemic and for the first time since Assen 2000, the sport's most prestigious title will be decided over just 2 days of competition, all settled by 2 grand finals, the biggest 2 minutes in motorsport. For the 56th edition of this historic series, Ice Speedway's 8 most active federations were invited to nominate their top competitors for inclusion in a 16-rider field. The favourites for honours will be 7 home representatives competing as neutral athletes, including the top 4 from 2020. Dmitry Koltkov is out with injury, but 2 former winners are back. 2016 champion Dmitry Kometsevich and reigning title holder Danil Ivanov. Last season was very unusual because we only had 6 of the 10 planned races, but nevertheless I was satisfied with my results. Every year it's difficult to retain the title, but speaking about this year, firstly it's important to stress that we're lucky to be allowed a World Championship at all. Then yes, with only 2 days, it is important not to make a mistake because there's no room for error at all now. So it will be different in many ways from previous seasons. It's the first World Championship campaign without a finalist from Sweden. Martin Hara Hiltonen is out with a broken elbow, while travel restrictions force Stefan and Niklas Svensson to withdraw. They are replaced by 2 nominations from the Kazakhstan Federation, most notably the 2010 European champion Andrei Shishigov. This news really came as a shock, but like any sportsman, it's a great honour for me to be chosen for the World Championship. I made my debut back in 2006, and at first I was really successful, but I had a lot of mechanical problems and crashes, then big injuries in 2010 and 2019. But racing is my life, so I never gave any thought to giving up. I've continued to gain experience and skills as a rider, and now I feel ready to finally deliver some great results at this level. Western Europe's favourites include the likes of Franz Zorn and Harold Simon, and they are joined by comeback man Akiala Rihimaki, who successfully recovered from a serious off-track accident in 2007 that at one stage left him in a wheelchair. He is the lone Finn. 3 riders in the starting 16 make their full debuts this season. The late withdrawal of Hans Weber creates room for Andrej Diviš of the Czech Republic. And after past wildcard and reserve outings, Luca Bauer finally gets his chance in the series proper. I'm happy to have this nomination for the World Championship. I haven't had a lot of racing, only the European Championship and 2 weeks of practice in Sweden. But logistically, this is easy for us. We just flew to Ufa where I have a bike for racing over here. Now I'll give my best for a good result. The late withdrawal of Max Niedermayer promotes reserve Andrei Anisimov into the meeting programme, with Ilya Krivanoska on standby as track reserve. 7 different nationalities are represented in the starting lineup, gunning for glory in 2021. Togliatti has twice hosted the season opener in its 10-year association with the Ice Speedway World Championship, but never before has the world title been settled at the Anatoly Stepanov Stadium. The 8th individual world final staged in Togliatti also see the inauguration of a new scoring format. Only the top 4 from 20 qualifying heats progress to the grand final, where the championship points will be awarded. There were no major surprises during the qualifying heats on day 1 in Togliatti, with the top 4 from 2020 all progressing comfortably through to the grand final. But there was some entertaining racing on the way, as the favourites jostled for seeding position and the chasing pack attempted to break their dominance. Heat 4 was the early pick, the first match-up between 2 of the main contenders, but it was spoiler Franz Zorn who briefly led with one of his customary fast starts. As the Austrian slipped back, he set the scene for a 4-lap tussle between Dinar Valeev and Igor Kononov, both eventual qualifiers, but the latter winning this duel on the final 2 turns to take the first of his 4 heat wins en route. Andrei Shishigov proved too inconsistent to make the cut. 2 wins, but 2 non-scores on his account as well for 7th position. A late call-up to the meeting, he did well for a win in his opening outing, but missed the start in Heat 8, was then dispatched by Harold Simon for 3rd by the end of the opening lap. Shishagov recovered to form in Heat 10 with a fine victory over Franz Zorn, but he was by now already 3 points back from the lead scorers, and further drop points in his later outings ended his pursuit of a top 4 place. Dmitry Komitsevich qualified to the final as top seed thanks to his victory in Heat 11 over Igor Kononov. The day's form pair were tied on points after the 20 heat programme, and this much anticipated matchup proved as close fought as expected. Only Dinar Valeev managed to lower the colours of Komitsevich during the qualifying stages, the youngster jetting away from the inside gate to command Heat 15, and Komitsevich content to bank more points with a place in the final already within touching distance. Meanwhile, Harold Simmons' hopes of a medal ranking were all but ended after a mechanical retirement in his 4th outing. Reigning world number 6 did well to battle back from 4th to 2nd on the opening lap, only for his machinery to let him down. Simmons' fellow countryman Franz Zorn showed some of his best form to take 6th on day 1 in Togliatti. Having finished just 10th in the world last season, the Austrian looked more confident in wheel-to-wheel combat a year later. A determined effort saw him inside Akiala Rihimaki for 2nd in Heat 16 to move above the Finn in the standings. And although Zorn went without a race win on day 1, he showed great spirit on his way to a creditable 9 heat points. In one of the best races of the heat programme, he refused to give in to fellow countryman Harold Simmons, even after the latter's 3rd to 1st efforts on the opening 2 laps of Heat 17. And although Simmons did eventually slice back to the inside off the final turn to take his first heat victory of the meeting, on his way to 8th on the day, Zorn had shown real progress from his debilitating injuries of 2019. Andrei Shishagov and Nikita Toloknov were both left needing a win from Heat 19 to have hopes of qualification to the final, but instead it was Dmitry Komitsevich who powered away for a 4th victory of the meeting and qualified to the final as top seed. Daniil Ivanov relegated Toloknov to 3rd, but thanks to his 3 earlier wins, that was enough for the wildcard to claim 5th on the night. Head-to-head victory for Komitsevich over Kononov in Heat 11 gave him first pick of starting positions for the final, while Ivanov took 3rd over Valeev thanks to his Heat 9 success. Meanwhile, Akiala Rihimaki's return to the World Championship was rewarded with a creditable 9th place. The top 4 from the 2020 World Championship all safely through for the big one, the first of 2 decisive finals this weekend. A quartet who've all won past finals here in Togliatti as well. Dmitry Komitsevich in red, 3 times a winner here. He's top seed to the final, known as a fast starter anyway, so the inside gate makes him the favourite here. Gate 2 in blue for Igor Kononov, double winner here in 2015, only beaten by Komitsevich during the heats today. Daniil Ivanov will go off gate 3 in white. Day 1 winner here last season, the sport's all-time record point scorer. And off the outside gate in yellow, Dinar Valeev, the day 2 winner here in 2020. That was the last meeting staged in Togliatti, Valeev's 4th and most recent final win. It's 20 championship points to the winner, 18 for 2nd, 16 for 3rd, 14 for 4th. 2 finals will settle the 2021 World Championship medals. All are genuine contenders. Komitsevich, Kononov, Ivanov and Valeev for final 1. Tapes rise. Good start off gates 1 and 3. It's Komitsevich with the whole shot. Cutting back to the inside line off turn 2, Igor Kononov passes 2 riders in 1 move. Ivanov with lift down the back straight. He now succumbs to the pressure of Dinar Valeev crew on the inside. Kononov hits the front at the end of the opening lap, switches straight back up to the outside line though. Comet Savic recovers to lead it, and the top two from the heat stages are duelling like gladiators out in front. Dinar Valeev looking to pick up the pieces. He's already got the better of Daniil Ivanov, who is now well tailed off, and Kononov is having to start to think about defending. Valeev bobbles on turns 1 and 2, fortunate to stay on his machine. He's now got ground to recover. Kononov can go into all-out attack with just a single lap to go. It's Comet Savic defending the inside. Kononov building his speed on the outside. He gains ground hand over fist coming off turns 1 and 2. Less than a bike length between them heading into the top turn. Comet Savic defends and does so successfully. Dmitry Comet Savic wins final one of the 2020 Ice Speedway World Championship ahead of Igor Kononov in second and Dinar Valeev in third. Ivanov disappointingly tailed off out at the back, but it's a perfect start for Dmitry Comet Savic, top seed and race winner.
Спасибо за поздравления.
I am pleased, but I wouldn't say that the championship is in my hands. Not even 50% of the job is done, because everyone is riding at such a high level. And with this new system, it's all on the final, so there's no room for a mistake. I'll be back tomorrow, motivated for more success, but so will the others.
Завтра будем настраиваться, и день покажет.
Representatives of the host nation take 6 of the top 7 positions on day 1 in Togliatti. Realistically, riders outside of the top 8 could be counted out of the title race already. Disappointment for Jasper Iwema struggling at the back, Marcus Jell picking up a promising 10th. With just a single defeat from 6 rides, it's a near faultless start to the weekend for Dmitry Comet Savic, who takes a record 79th career podium and the maximum available 20 championship points. The second meeting of the weekend in Togliatti followed a similar pattern to the first, with the 4 day 1 finalists again only dropping points to one another during the qualifying stages, moving swiftly through to the final, where the 2021 title would be settled. The 20 heat programme was therefore set up as the battleground for the fight for 5th place in the championship standings. A group of 4 main contenders headed by Nikita Toloknov, with Franz Zorn, Andrei Shishigov and Harold Simon all proving closely matched throughout the World Championship weekend. Further back, Marcus Jell took 9th overall from Akiala Riihimaki after a challenging second day for the comeback man in Togliatti. 2 disqualifications in a 5-rider count restricted the Finn to just 11th on day 2, although he had nonetheless proved himself worthy of his place back in the world's elite. In an entertaining Heat 2, for example, he fought early on with Andrei Shishigov before catching Franz Zorn by surprise, only for a disqualification after this backstraight collision to hamper his scoring. Marcus Jell, meanwhile, finished the day a career-best 8th to move above the Finn in the championship. A first-ride win over Andrei Anisimov set the tone for a strong afternoon, replicating his form from Insel 2019 in this, his first World Championship meeting outside of Germany. Dmitry Comet Savic was again the man to take the early meeting lead as he attempted to consolidate his psychological advantage over his main rivals, dispatching Daniil Ivanov in Heat 1 and Igor Kononov here in Heat 5. But with the top 4 again separated by just a point at the end of 20 qualifying races, it was Dinar Valeev who took first choice of starting position for the final, becoming the only rider to lower the colours of Comet Savic with this victory in Heat 9. Andrei Shishigov was the first of the chasing quartet to drop back from the battle for 5th overall after he was disqualified for a tapes offence in his second outing, a race which he'd started as the favourite. And he missed the opportunity to pull one back when he was pipped in a photo finish in Heat 13. After defeat at the hands of Franz Zorn in the second round of heats, Nikita Toloknov also needed the points in his own pursuit of 5th place, and it was the home hopeful who got the verdict after this entertaining scrap. A more difficult day at the office for Shishigov, who was eventually restricted to 9th from final 2 and dropped below Harold Simon to 8th overall. At the top of the table, Dinar Valeev consolidated the meeting lead in his 2 remaining programmed rides, overhauling Igor Kononov in confident fashion in Heat 16, ahead of a straightforward final programmed outing. Kononov held on for 3rd seeding position, with Danil Ivanov pushed back to 4th after his Heat 18 defeat. Starting proved critical in separating the lead quartet during the heat stages, making the fight for seeding and therefore gate positions in the final that little bit more important. 5th place in the championship, of course, was settled before that title decider. Nikita Togliatti looked in the driving seat for that best of the rest tag when he out-trapped Harold Simon in the penultimate heat race, but the Austrian produced yet another of his classic from-the-back inside-line dashes to deny the home wildcard. Simon had already quickly cut past Jasper Iverma early on before hunting down Togliatti and picking him off in the run to the line, in the process relegating him to 7th in the meeting standings and denying him 5th overall. There was some consolation for the home fans though, as late call-up reserve Andrei Anisimov rounded out his debut World Championship weekend with a determined final lap in Heat 20. The 18-year-old Togliatti Jr. still has some way to go before matching his top fellow countrymen, but he had enjoyed a strong start to the meeting with 4 points from his opening 2 rides and secured 10th on the day, plus 11th in the championship with a late pass on Lukas Huttler, much to the delight of the local crowds. As expected, the same quartet qualifies again for the second final of 2021. Harold Simon, beaten only by that top 4, is best of the rest. Little to separate the bottom 4 throughout the weekend, but they failed to really trouble the rest of the fields. 41 races this weekend have all built up to this, the 2021 decider. 2 former champions off gates 2 and 4. Points scored in final 1 carry over. So we've got Dinar Valeev on 16 points, the 25-year-old in only his 5th World Championship season. Dmitry Kometsevich on 20 points. A win here would crown him world champion for a 2nd time. Second behind Valeev or Ivanov would also be enough. Igor Kononov on 18 points, a win would guarantee him at least a run-off for the title. And Danil Ivanov, the 4 times and reigning world champion, nothing less than a win would do for him to retain his title, and every other result would need to go his way as well. It's looking unlikely, but it is still possible they could all finish tied on 34 points, and we'd be into a 4-way run-off. The strongest possible lineup, accounting for 10 of the last 13 final winners around this circuit. This is final 2 of the 2021 World Championship. Valeev, Kometsevich, Kononov and Ivanov. Great jump off gate number 4 from Danil Ivanov. It's too far though to come. Kometsevich made a good one. He's moved aside by Dinar Valeev. Igor Kononov with a clear route through on the inside pops up into 2nd place. Oh, Kometsevich goes down. A heavy impact into the bales on the outside of turn 3 and 4. He ran in deep looking for a way back into the top 2. And Kometsevich goes down. Surely finds himself disqualified by meeting referee Alexander Lyatosinski. And does that end his hopes of the 2021 world title? Well, suddenly Danil Ivanov's chances have got just a little bit better. If he can win this rerun with Valeev 2nd and Kononov 3rd, we will have a 4-way runoff. Any other result, and both his and also Dmitry Kometsevich's hopes are over. And then there were 3, Valeev, Kononov and Ivanov. A win here for Kononov and he'll be crowned world champion. And it is Igor Kononov who's got the drop off gate number 3. Bobbles midway around turns 1 and 2. The momentum now with Dinar Valeev. Kononov attempted to block down the back straight but had to lift his left leg out of the way. No quarter asked by Dinar Valeev, who charges through to lead at the end of the opening lap. The pair having clashed down the back straight. Valeev determined to hit the front, and he's done so. Kononov losing ground around turns 1 and 2. It's Danil Ivanov back in third position. Just didn't make the jump this time around that he did in the initial running. He's left himself with way too much work to do. So surely it's now a head-to-head between Dinar Valeev and Igor Kononov for final one victory here in Togliatti. It could set us up for a run-off for the world title if Dinar Valeev stays where he is out in front. If Igor Kononov can get the better of Valeev on the final two turns, he will be crowned world champion. Valeev goes conservative, Kononov can't get there, and we will have an extra race in the 2021 FIM Ice Speedway World Championship. Kononov shaking his head as he comes over the line, feels that that's a missed opportunity after making the jump. Valeev finds his way through to the front, and it's 36 points apiece at the top of the championship. So the results of final two. Three different nationalities this time in the top eight, with Germany's Markus Jell earning a career best 9 championship points for eighth. Andrei Anisimov and Jasper Iverma both performing better on the second day than the first. Both Austrians make up a place on day two in Togliatti. Franz Zorn moves ahead of Nikita Tolokhnov for fifth, his best world ranking since 2009. And Harold Simon passes Andrei Shishagov for seventh. The top 10 really a cut above the rest in 2021. So for the first time since Assen 1991, we head to a title-deciding runoff. The past masters have fallen by the wayside. We will have a new world champion in 2021. But will it be 2011 and 17 silver medalist Igor Kononov, or 2019 and 2020 bronze medalist Dinar Valeev? It's Valeev who goes off the inside. He has already beaten Kononov twice here today. He won final two, but that's only half the job. It's one-on-one, head-to-head, in a runoff for the 2021 title. Valeev versus Kononov. And it is Igor Kononov who once again makes the jump off gate number 3, but Dinar Valeev muscles his way first to the first turn. Kononov with the momentum of the cutback. Valeev looks over his shoulder down the back straight before settling in to defend on the inside line around turns 3 and 4. Kononov prefers the outside line generally anyway, so he won't be too disappointed about that. Valeev bobbling there around turns 1 and 2, but he has already gapped Kononov. Can he do again, just as he did in final number 2? Accelerate away from Igor Kononov. Not this time around. Kononov is going for broke. Valeev again, hitting all of the ruts into turn 1. Kononov's got the smoother run. The gap is back down to less than a bike length as they head into the top turn. Valeev moves mid-track. Kononov goes all the way around the outside and then sides across the front of Dinar Valeev, who's shaking his head in frustration there. Feels that Kononov was just a little bit too aggressive on the home straight. Turns 3 and 4. It's Igor Kononov set to become world champion. Valeev cuts through. Dinar Valeev on the line. Kononov can't believe it. I can't believe it. An overtake on the final turn of the World Championship. And it's Dinar Valeev who becomes the 26th different rider to inscribe his name on the FIM Roll of Honour. The 25-year-old, under immense pressure, notches 5 race victories in a row to become 2021 World Champion. Kononov denied in the cruelest of fashions, overtaken in the final, overtaken on the last bend of the runoff, and he must content himself with silver for the 3rd time in his career. Incredible scenes in Togliatti. Daniil Ivanov misses out on an FIM gold medal for the first time since 2017, despite returning to the podium on day 2. Dmitry Komitsevich having already amassed enough points to stay clear of him, despite his final 2 fall. It's Dinar Valeev who capitalises on that with his 2nd Togliatti win, the 5th final victory of his career, and the most important yet, as it sees him crowned world champion. I feel like I haven't realised it yet, but I am the world champion. It's been such a long path to this title. I'm so happy, but I still really can't believe it. For the 12th successive season, there's only one nationality represented on the FIM World Championship podium. After 2 seasons in a row as world number 3, it's gold for Dinar Valeev in 2021.